Hello, brief chat.
Okay, brief chat.
Throw to Mark for review lineup. But first of all, the thing to say is we're in the same room.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? There's no delay.
It's a very, very strange thing. Normally, there's about a half a second between us, sometimes a full second, but then we adjust the wiring and it comes down to half a second.
Tighten up the pigeon.
Yeah.
And then it happens
There's no gap at all. Or if there is a gap, it's because we're just slowing down.
Should we do a clap test?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
It's not bad.
Okay. Thank you, Corporal Jones. That's me. So why are you in town?
Because I got to do a thing. I got to do a thing in town. When you say town, you mean London.
Yes.
So I've got to do a thing in that London or this London this evening.
In the smoke.
And then I've got to go on from there to York because the Dodge Brothers are playing a silent film in York on Thursday. We're doing Beggars of Life as part of the Aesthetica Festival. And then on Friday, we're doing a gig in a very small club. It's called The Basement, I think, and it's in the City Screen basement. And then in the middle of it, I'm doing another talk for my book, which has just got a rave review from Richard Dyer in Literary Review. And I can't tell you how excited I am about it. It's honestly Richard Dyer.
Never heard of him.
No, but I have.
Okay, well, that's fine then.
Okay, so in film academia circles, Richard Dyer is like, he's the toppermost of the poppermost.
I saw your little entertaining film about the Dodge Brothers.
Yes.
And there was a new Dodge brother in there, wasn't there? There was someone I didn't recognise.
No.
Have you sacked someone?
No.
I thought you sacked someone.
No, Al's grown up.
I thought you got a new person in.
No.
Like you two getting a drummer in for when they were playing Vegas. I thought you got a new kind of showbiz guy in there.
No. Ali was there before. Yeah. Mike there before. And then Al, who is Mike's son, who may be the first time but same people.
No, I think there was a new person. Unless maybe
he's just got a beard. He's grown a beard.
I think you haven't noticed.
Well, they've accidentally sneaked another band member in.
I think someone has been done in,
okay,
and they've replaced them, and this is a big cover-up.
Anyway, the big news over the weekend was, so I was in Belfast, and I was introducing the 1931 Bela Lugosi Dracula as part of Cinemagic, because I go there every year for that. And our very good friends live in Belfast. And
I know what this is going to be.
Janice, our very good friend, is a Chelsea supporter. So we're sitting there, and the television is on, and it is, I don't know, football from a hole in the ground, but it is Chelsea. And I go, who's the other team? And she goes, oh, that's Tottenham Hotspur.
She didn't say that. Even Chelsea supporters would just say Tottenham, and they're useless. That's what
and I said, what's the score? And she said, oh, it's 1-0. We're absolutely kicking them. So I then felt compelled to text you to say, I'm in Belfast watching the television and watching your team get kicked. And you said, I'm not watching. I'm listening to an album by...
Yeah, I can't remember.
Streets of London, Ralph McTell.
Oh, yeah.
You were listening to a Ralph
McTell album. Well, I just thought that was more edifying than...
Were you actually watching it?
No.
Because you're not allowed to watch, because if you watch, they lose.
Yeah, if I only... Yeah, no. As soon as I turn it on, they let in a goal.
Okay, but the thing was, you weren't watching, they still let in a goal. So I would give up the rule, because it seems that they're perfectly capable of losing even when you're not watching.
Oh, well, that's definitely true. Chelsea supporters refer to playing at Tottenham, they call it 3-point lane. So...
Anyway, then the next day...
I do dislike Chelsea supporters in general.
Not my friend.
No, not your friend who I've never met, but there'll be a dark side to her, guaranteed.
I did send you a photograph of her smiling and giving a thumbs up the next day in the park when we were walking the dog.
That's just what you need. Bad enough being in London, I'm in Belfast being trolled. Terrible.
I've never been involved in football trolling before. I did enjoy it.
Anyway, but actually Spurs beat Copenhagen yesterday, which is a little kind of, it's like a needle match for me.
Was Child 1 rooting for Copenhagen?
I don't know. I don't think so, because he messaged me halfway through and said, what's the score? And I thought, you can tell in Copenhagen, there are local ways of finding out. Anyway, that's enough football chat, I think, for one film-based podcast.
Not bad, though, was it? I did some football chat there.
Yeah. I wish you hadn't, though. I absolutely wish you hadn't. God, Chelsea. Almost as bad as Leeds. Anyway, this is an entertaining little thing because we're both here.
Yes.
And we've got lots of stuff to talk about. For example,
we are going to be reviewing a ton of movies in Take One. The Choral, which is new British film starring Ray Fiennes. Predator Badlands, the latest in the Predator series. Die My Love, which is a new film by Lynne Ramsay, who's, absolutely love Lynne Ramsay. And Anemone, with our two special guests.
It's quite difficult to say that.
Anemone. Anemone.
It is a bit that. Yes, our special guest, Ronan Day-Lewis, and his dad, Roger. Is it something like Brian?
David.
Anyway, in Take Two, what are you reviewing?
In Take Two, two more films. Belén, which is Argentina's submission for the Best International Feature, Oscar, and Train Dreams.
All the other extra stuff, including details of all the best and worst films on television over the weekend, further discussion of the best absurdist black comedies in One Frame Back, and questions, schmestions, in which we answer the excellent question, what do we think is the best film title of all, irrespective of the film's quality? Brackets, but not The Exorcist or Jeremy. What's interesting is it's almost impossible, I think, we'll discuss this in questions, especially, to take away the content of the film from the title.
Well, is it? I mean, like Piranha Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. You haven't seen that film.
No, but I'd like to, actually.
Yeah. Actually, it's actually called Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. But when it was released on video here, they had to change the word from Cannibal Women to Piranha Women because the BBFC had a downer on anything that had the word cannibal in the title.
So all of this kind of stuff is... Questions, schmestions, which is the end of Take Two. Plus, let us remind you that full video episodes are now available on YouTube, where you can see our plants. This is Simon's plant, and over there is Mark's plant.
Why am I fondling a plant?
Because that's your plant.
It's a triffid.
And you take it home.
Very good.
You like the monitor.
It says here, quick reminder of the good stuff available over on Patreon.
Yes.
Polls and submissions.
Behind-the-scenes photos and videos, member-only chats.
Still
in a slightly
sounds rude.
Sordid,
Still sounds sordid.
Thing.
Video versions of Take Two still sound sordid.
And the Redactors Roundup monthly letter, which is also sordid.
And an entirely new show.
Take Ultra is our new bi-weekly show streamed live from Showbiz North London, Holborn, Cambridge, wherever Mark happens to be turning up.
York.
Really. And it went rather well.
Apparently it did, yeah.
And people loved it.
I still think that bi-weekly sounds like twice a week.
Yes, I'm afraid it does sound like that, even though it doesn't.
Does bi-weekly actually genuinely mean every other week?
Yes.
Does it?
Every 2 weeks, it means.
Every bi-weekly?
Every other week. Maybe we just say it like that. Twice a month.
Twice a month. Yeah. Bi-monthly.
So head to patreon.com/Kermode and Mayo, one word. The link and discount code are in the episode description. What more could you possibly want?
And remember, it's Kermode with an R, not Kermode, as it says on the script.
The Kermode and Mayo's Christmas Movie Spectacular is back.
It's back on this. Yes. That's me.
Yes, I
it's
know
me.
that.
It's why it says Mark. It's back on December the 7th at the Prince Edward Theatre in the busy West End of London.
Festive cinematic witterings and characteristic bickering, it says here, live on stage in a sequel that gives this year's biggest blockbusters a run for their money.
This Christmassy extravaganza will feature all the best bits from the podcast, reviews of the week's newest releases, interviews with the stars of the silver screen, and the Christmas cracker. Laughter lip.
Plus the return of Simon and Markstermind, our Christmas quiz spelt with K's, where the audience members will go head-to-head in a film buff battle for the ages for a VIP pass to come and have a mince pie with us backstage, which has to be the most disappointing prize ever offered in a quiz.
Prices money can buy. And tip-top guests, including hello to Jason Isaacs wandering around a fan convention in New Orleans.
Gurinder Chadha talking about her new film of A Christmas Carol,
which I think is actually called Christmas Karma.
Sunday the 7th of December, 2:30 in the afternoon, so you can get home and everything in time for your Horlicks. Tickets start at £27.50 and the dedicated pre-sale link is
fane.co.uk/take.
Sunday the 7th of December, 2:30. It's going to be a riot. In a very kind of calm and respectable way. Correspondence at kermodeandmayo.com. That's where you send emails like this. Drew says, Dear Doctors, on last week's pod you mentioned people's offence at derogatory notes on hometowns. I would like to refer you both to Mark's review of Wall-E from your previous incarnation when describing the desolate earth the robot protagonist inhabits.
Go on.
Dr. Mayo remarked that the ruined earth of the film must be like Canvey Island. Dr. Kermode, to his credit, did note that this was not a nice thing to say, and that Canvey Island is also the hometown of Dr. Feelgood. As the home for my first 18 years of my life, I have always been astonished by Simon's impression of Canvey Island. I assure you Canvey is far worse than anything that could be depicted on film. Because the standard joke was something like, a terrifying storm has whipped through Canvey Island, causing millions of pounds of improvements. That was the kind of thing. So it was just like, what are you going to be rude about? Be rude about Canvey Island. So I apologise because yes, it did provide a Dr. Feelgood, but it was just Drew, who's now a resident of Cambridge, does accept that it's not.
But it did give us Canvey Island, so
Well, it is Canvey Island.
No, but it did give us. Sorry, it did give us Dr. Feelgood.
It did give us Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood didn't give us Canvey Island the other way around.
The only band with someone called Mayo in.
Oh, that's right, Jippy Mayo.
Jippy Mayo,
and he was called
indeed.
Jippy Mayo because he had a dodgy tummy.
Oh, right, okay.
Isn't that right?
I don't know. Well, it could have been for other reasons.
No. I think I believe I'm right in saying that he was called Jippy Mayo because he had a dodgy tummy.
Anyway, that's fine. That was his name. That's what it says on the album, so that's all perfectly fine. Correspondence at CopenandMayo.com. What is out? Tell me something exciting.
Predator Badlands, which I believe 6th live-action film, 7th overall film, 9th instalment in total in the Predator franchise. I'm reading that from the wiki page because I've lost track. So the previous live-action film was Prey, which came out in 2022, which was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who also directed, there's an animated film anthology, Killer of Killers, which I haven't seen, but I have seen Prey, which I liked very much, and you did, and we both liked. And if you remember, it was sort of stripped down kind of prequel set in 18th century Great Plains. Amber Midthunder, who would go on to star in Opus and Novocaine. It was released in both English language and Comanche language versions. And it was actually really good, wasn't it?
Was really good, apart from the fact that she had a barking dog.
A barking dog?
Yeah.
That annoyed you?
Well, I love a barking dog, but if you're trying to keep secret and hide from a monster,
predator, yes.
You don't want a barking dog.
Barking dog wasn't good. So this is a very different film. Over here, the Predator franchise previously had been 18 and 15 rated films. This is the first in the Predator series to get a 12A here and a PG-13 in America. So I think in America the previous ones were all rated R. This has had some Predator fans up in arms. But it's specifically designed to be available to the family market in the mode of the Transformers or the Jurassic Park series. Okay, so also owes a debt to the Terminator franchise. If you remember the thing with Terminator started out as Arnie is an unstoppable killing machine with an 18 rating, and then downshifted into Arnie is a father figure who will do everything to save you in the 15 rated sequel, and then wound up in the 12 rated Terminator Genesis. So now Predator, the ultimate killing machine. You can't kill what can only kill. You can't stop the unstoppable or whatever it is. Now, because you have to do something else with Predator, Predator is the good guy. So
really?
Yes.
I find that hard.
So Deck, who is shunned by his brutal father as the runt of the litter because he's not dangerous and killy enough. So he declares that he will prove his worth by travelling to the most dangerous place on Earth, in the world.
Canvey Island.
Canvey Island. He's going to Canvey Island.
Yes.
He will form a band with Jippy Mayo.
Fair enough.
And then he will also kill the unkillable, I think it's called the Callus, this big monster that even his dad is scared of. So he arrives on the planet. When he gets there, he discovers that Weyland-Yutani, so Weyland-Yutani are the company from Aliens and, the Alien franchise. And obviously there's been the Alien Predator crossover. They're already there and they have had their butts kicked. And he finds Elle Fanning's synth cyborg, or at least half of her, because she's been torn in half. The top half of her is working, but the bottom half of her has been left behind.
It's disappointing, really, for her.
Do you want to hear a clip?
Yes, please.
Here we go.
The ways of your kind are ones of violence. Either you are hunted, or you become the hunter.
Welcome to the most dangerous planet in the universe, where everything is trying to kill you. Many of your kind have come here. None have survived.
Welcome to Canvey Island.
That works.
So the predator who's not predatory enough and the half a synth cyborg form this uneasy alliance because she knows where the monster is that he needs to kill in order to prove his worth, and he needs to kill the monster in order to prove his worth. So they head off in search of big game. Now, The director, who, as I said, did the movie before that we really like, has cited as influences Terrence Malick. Well, the film is called Predator Badlands, so stole the title, fair enough. Clint Eastwood westerns and the Hughes brothers film, The Book of Eli, as influences. I have to say, I didn't see any of those influences. I saw a lot of Transformers because there's a lot of big, bashy, smashy crash. Quite a lot of some of the lesser Godzilla movies, again, just big CG monsters romping around. There's a bit of the Star Wars cantina in there, in the sort of space-age wildlife. There's a couple of straight lifts from Aliens, including the pulse rifles. There is a yearning for that awe factor of the early Jurassic Park movies, you know, when you see something really big, and then the sort of the comic cuteness of the Guardians movies. But there is way, way, way too much of the kind of wobbly, heftless physicality or lack of it of, for example, the Assassin's Creed computer games. I mean, there's endless amounts of characters leaping around in that CG way as if the laws of gravity and physics don't bear any relation to what's going on the screen, you know, leaping up the sides of things. You think, no, that's not how it works. So according to the director, he said every shot of the film required visual effects works, and boy, does it look like it. I mean, it really, really looks like it's been put together, on a computer, and it would be much better done through a console. I mean, it's not without a certain degree of just big, bashy, smashy 12A charm. Elle Fanning is good. The guy who plays the Predator, Demetrius Schuster-Kolowamatangi, I mean, they're good. They make a nice kind of odd couple up to a point. But just considering the amount of stuff that's been thrown at the screen, I did find it weirdly unengaging, not least because the one before, the live action one before Prey, that we really liked. The reason that worked was you actually were involved in the character. You know, you thought that's an interesting setup, and it's going somewhere that I hadn't expected. The end of this, incidentally, sets it up for a sequel because, surprise, surprise, the director has already said, well, I wanted the live action ones to be a trilogy because that's just
trilogy. Yeah,
just the way everything is now. So I thought it was kind of, I mean, I was unengaged by it, and it did feel a bit pointless, but you know, not without some passing fun. Like I said, the 12A stuff. I came out, and one guy I know is a friend. He said, "Oh, that was much, much more exciting than I expected." And I went, "Do you think?" I just thought it was a bit, But yeah, Predator. He's the good guy.
My guess is that they managed to kill the bad monster. I haven't seen it.
I tell you that, interestingly enough, your guess, it's not. No, I mean. Yeah, no, you're in the wrong ballpark.
I'm in the wrong ballpark.
Yeah, let's not do it because let's not. Otherwise, people go, "Am I not the film?"
You're using that voice.
I am using that voice.
So we're going to take a break, unless you're a Vanguard Easter, in which case you'll just endlessly carry on forever,
like hell.
Yes, and then you're going to be reviewing what?
Well, coming up in the rest of the show, I'm going to be reviewing Die My Love and the Choral, but immediately next, we're going to do the box office top 10 and then Anemone with our special guest,
Ronan Day-Lewis.
And his dad.
Who turned up for the interview.
Yeah.
So
I think he was just driving the car, wasn't he?
We'd include him just for the hell of it, really. So all of that is on the way, and the laughter lift. Did you mention that? I think you should have done.
I slipped my mind.
It's everyone's favourite. It's on the way. Okay, box office top 10. Here we go. Now
number.
Yeah. Now streaming on Apple TV without the plus. Down Cemetery Road.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a film. This is a TV series, and
yes,
we talked about
it last week because Ruth Wilson was on.
Yeah.
Someone who appears to be called JJ10270. This is everything that Slow Horses isn't, but not in a good way. Where Slow Horses is fresh, propulsive and witty, Down Cemetery Road felt familiar, sluggish and laboured. The characters were shallow and cliched, especially the men. Does anyone really say, "see you at the club" these days, or behave like a total like the Tom Goodman Hill character? I have to say, you're absolutely right. JJ, if I can call you that. And the story was contrived. I agree with Mark's point about the tonal shifts, but the humour isn't really funny. E.g., Adil Akhtar's slamming his hand into his curry. Please. It all falls far short of the high expectations set by Slow Horses.
It's actually a good observation. The slamming the hand into the curry gag is absolutely... Because you wouldn't do that.
No.
No matter how... you just wouldn't.
So anyway, that's streaming on Apple TV. Number Thrumpelty9, Relay. DB Sites on our YouTube channel. This was the first movie I've seen in at least a decade that genuinely infuriated me with its biggest reversal twist.
Okay, so and when I reviewed it, I did say it starts doing the plot twist, and there's a point in which you just go, no, I have lost faith.
Okay. One, because the script trusts the audience intelligence and attention, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. And two, because everything that came before it was quite gripping, but the relationships actually felt authentic and not at all contrived. It struck a rare perfect balance of what to expect in a movie and not going too short or too far, developing characters and their relationships. And then it throws it all out of the window with something that makes little sense on paper and even less on screen.
Yes.
So in other words, what you said.
Yeah, it's fun. It's strange because it's got some really interesting stuff, and then you just go, okay, now I've lost faith in you.
Number 11 is Shelby Oaks.
Interesting because, I mean, it's number 11, but it was a film that cost very, very little money and was put together over a long period of time. And I think there is promise in terms of its ideas. I'd be interesting to see what he does next.
Number 10 here, 12 in America, One Battle After Another.
One Battle After film, which is now, that's its 6th week. So that's probably its last week in the although, because we're coming up to awards season, I suppose it might get a second win as it starts to win things. I mean, I really like it. So did you?
Yeah, I think it will be one of the films of the year. Number 9, 24 in America, Pets on a Train.
AKA Falcon Express, which is a French animated romp, which includes, guess what? Pets on a Train.
Number 8, but number 3 in Canada, Chainsaw Man, the movie, Resi Arc.
So when I was in Belfast with my friends, and I was talking to another one of my friends who was a young man who knows a lot about this stuff. He was saying, yeah, you really do need to know about Chainsaw Man in order to understand, because actually there is really interesting stuff in Chainsaw Man. And I said that somebody had sent me this email saying, I'd be really interested to know what you think, because I think it's like this meets Cronenberg. And I just looked at it and thought, I do not have any idea what's going on at all. But second week in the charts, I thought it would actually be gone in the second week. It's down to number 8 now, so this will be the end of it. But yeah, it's going to increasingly become an issue that film critics like me who aren't in this world are going to be confronted with films that they simply don't understand. And we have to figure out what to do about that.
Number 7 is I Swear.
I don't mean figure out what to do about it as in stop them being released. I mean figure out how we are going to respond to that. I Swear I love, one of my films of the year, absolutely terrific.
Number 6 here, number 2 in America, Black Phone 2.
Not as good as Black Phone, but it has some moments in it. It's very sort of Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors.
The UK number 5 is Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie.
Again, a movie that was absolutely not designed for me, but was designed for much younger people. But I have it on good authority from somebody that we both know that apparently the younger audience got exactly what they paid for.
Number 4, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Nominally, on paper, a film in which somebody sits in a room with a Tascam Tiac and has a nervous breakdown, but actually has done surprisingly well. I mean, this is its second week. It topped the charts last week, and it seems to have found an audience, which is great, considering it is, as you said, not a rock biopic, but a film about depression.
It's number 7 in the States. Number 3 here, number 5 in America is Back to the Future, 40th anniversary reissue.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Back to the Future. I hear it's, you know anything about it?
It's doing okay.
Okay.
Regretting You is at number 2.
And insert pun of your choice involving the word regretting and screening of the film.
It's the UK's, it's America's number 1.
Precisely so, because it is exactly that film from that writer and that director, and it's that film, and you go, okay, none of the people in this are behaving in the way that any human beings would behave, but it's that film.
Number 1 is Begonia. So here's some correspondence.
Yes.
And Keith Williams says lots of nice things about the podcast, first of all. And then he says, I love this film right up until 5 minutes from the end, and I left hating it. Yeah. The director had woven a tense thriller throughout, only to undo it in the last minutes. If they'd ended this movie at the ambulance scene just before the end, it would have been perfect. But I cannot fathom why the obviously talented production team thought it was a good idea to take it in the direction they did. Can you think of any other movie which you love only for the last few minutes to sour the whole experience and make you leave the film with a foul taste in your mouth? Regards, Keith Williams. Stan says, both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons were astounding, as always. And the winding ways the narrative unfolds kept us and the entire cinema on our seats. There were laughs and gasps all the way through, so I would encourage anyone, also Mr. Mayo, to go and see it in a packed screening. By the end, without spoiling, although Mark did spoil it a bit,
I did not spoil it.
A certain sense of melancholia took me. The last images, together with that song, made me reflect on the shape of the world, where we're going as a species, oh blimey, and even the fleetingness of it all. Okay. I do believe that people could do with some more reflecting on the fact that in the end we all share the same house, so we better learn how to get along and share this beautiful pale blue dot in peace and harmony. This is, in my opinion, Lanthimos' best English language film to date, and I can't wait to see what he cooks up next. And that's from Stan. Pazuzu, who is here on our Patreon, we love him very much.
Do you know what Pazuzu is?
Yes.
The Assyrian demon of the southwest wind, and also the demon in
The Exorcist.
Yes.
But now is on our Patreon channel.
Wow.
So,
So Damien Karras cast him out of
Yes.
the body of Reagan McNeil just so that he could join our Patreon channel.
And Pazuzu says, dare I say this is accessible Yorgos. It even has jokes. Jokes.
Jokes.
And Phil Up North, also on Patreon. I quite enjoyed it right until the last 10 minutes, which left me exasperated. God forbid we have a little ambiguity. Patrick O'Callaghan on our YouTube and dozens of others. Mark should look at the logo on a tin of Lion's Golden Syrup. So just explain why this came up.
Okay.
I will then mention this and then you can sound off.
Okay, so I said the film is called Begonia. It is named Begonia because that is a Greek word which refers to the myth of bees coming out of the bodies of dead animals. And I said, which I guarantee you nobody knew.
Okay, so then Patrick and many others said, Mark should look at the logo on a tin of Lion's Golden Syrup, which famously, of course, what a lovely thing the jar of golden syrup was, by the way, which is terrific. It has a quote that says, Abraham Lyle and Sons, Sugar Refiners, picture of a dead lion with lots of bees coming out of dead lion, and it says
Out
underneath,
of the strong came forth sweetness.
That's the right.
Yes.
Okay, now you can sound off.
But at no point does it say Begonia.
It doesn't say
What I
Begonia.
said was none of you knew because nobody knows the Greek word Begonia refers to that. I'm sorry, we have actually discussed the Tate and Lyle out of strength came forth. Yes, that. But 3 weeks ago, if somebody had said to you Begonia, you would have said, bless you.
Yeah, just a bunch of begonias, please.
Exactly.
Thank you. Right, you can get those down the
I'll have
garage.
some begonias along with the anemones.
Exactly. Thank you. That's very good.
Thank you.
That's the best thing about London City Airport is the smell of golden syrup from the Lyle's factory, if it's still there. You come out like 4 o'clock in the morning, exhausted,
You get a sugar rush.
jet-lagged, and you go, wow, that smells fantastic. Pour some syrup down my face.
Baby.
Yeah, that's a Def Leppard song, I think. Correspondence at codermail.com. Back in a moment with...
Well, the Choral, Die My Love, and more importantly, Anemone with our special guests.
Ronan Day-Lewis and his dad, Daniel, on the way. So this week's guests are director Ronan Day-Lewis and his dad. Ronan's debut feature is Anemone, a film about Ray Stoker, who is reunited with his brother Jem in the Yorkshire woods, 20 years after a traumatic event. I spoke to Ronan and his totally ordinary workaday father, Daniel, about the film, and you'll hear that conversation after this. And that is a clip from Anemone. I'm delighted to say we've been joined by Sir Daniel Day-Lewis and Ronan Day-Lewis. So we have the star, we have the co-writers, and we have the director all on one sofa. Gentlemen, you're very welcome. How are you?
Well, it's fine. We're a little bit groggy, but we're good. Thank you.
Is that because of all the razzmatazz?
A little bit. Yeah, it's been a crazy few days, but yeah, happy to be on here. Thanks for having us.
And to both of you, but Daniel first, are you enjoying the razzmatazz? Because this is all a bit of the side of the craft that you're not 100% engaged with sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it has been lovely. We were in Athens previously in the festival. There was a charity benefit screening of the film, some very old friends of mine, and that was lovely. And no, it's all been really, really nice. Yeah. But yeah, just definitely it's more talking than I'm normally used to.
Yeah. So, Ronan, what's it like first time directing a movie? What do you make of all this hullabaloo?
Yeah, it's been really interesting because I feel like coming from more of a painting background, you don't have to do much talking or about the work. It's kind of just all internal, like in your head. And so it's in a way actually been good to have to think more deeply about how to articulate what we just made together. Yeah, we've met some really amazing people over the last few weeks, and it's been great.
In an odd kind of a way, you're sort of inventing it as you go along, because
Right.
very often you're talking about things that you wouldn't have thought to articulate with sort of one eye over your shoulder in a way, because already it feels like we're sort of a bit separated from it.
Yeah.
Ronan, you're the director. Introduce us to the story. Just tell us what we need to know as we contemplate going to the movies to watch this film on as big a screen as possible.
So it's Anemone is about a man who's living in a sort of state of self-banishment in extremely isolated setting in the middle of nowhere. And at the outset of the story, his long estranged brother, who he hasn't seen in 20 years, shows up mysteriously at his doorstep. And over the course of the next few days, we start to slowly unravel, while they're stuck in this very claustrophobic, kind of brutal environment together, we start to slowly unravel the reasons for their estrangement and the kind of dark intertwined history that they share. Yeah, that's kind of a very reductive explanation, but
is it period piece?
it is.
What's the year?
Yeah, it's set in 1995.
Yeah.
What's the significance of 1995?
We kind of waffled back and forth around a few years around there, and we landed on 95 because, first of all, we were interested in that period specifically, but also just the age of Ray and Jem and their involvement in Northern Ireland
Exactly.
was kind of dictated that. So it was, and then also we knew that it had to take place before the wide advent of cell phones for Ray's isolation to feel fully believable. So that was part
We
of it.
thought we could get away with, or I could get away with Ray being around 55. It's a bit of a stretch for me, but kind of worked it out from that.
Yeah.
Both brothers have been serving in the armed forces during the early Troubles.
I was fascinated by that. So your brother is played by Sean Bean, and when he arrives, there's so much silence in this shed that you've been living in, which I have to say, I imagined, Daniel, you had constructed yourself. That's what I'd imagine. But I love the silence between the brothers. That relationship is quite extraordinary, and the isolation is intriguing. Why have we got a background in the Troubles? What were you trying to tell us there?
It's funny because when we started to write it, we really began with the idea of the two brothers. We didn't.
Yeah.
There was nothing around that other than
I think
the estrangement. Perhaps a 20-year estrangement between the two of them. And I can't even remember how it was that we came to feel that, the soldiering part of it was going to be integral. But, as we were developing or following these characters as they reveal themselves, Jem was somebody that's, very inspired by the life of a very old friend of mine. And I think that's kind of what led us to a certain extent towards, and he'd had a full career in the British Army.
Yeah, initially when we were trying to figure out why also Ray was living in that kind of state of self-banishment, I think we landed early on the general idea that he'd been involved in a conflict of some kind, and we weren't sure exactly what it was going to be yet. And then my dad has long connections to Ireland, and I grew up there from 7 to 13, so I had learned about the Troubles a lot growing up, and I think they had always loomed large in my imagination and just in my head. I think we were kind of unconsciously drawn towards that, and the idea of the kind of intersection of like personal and national guilt, I think, became kind of an interesting theme that sort of naturally grew out of that.
So initially, we did do in a very early draft. We had a version that was where their experiences had been during the Falklands conflict, but we explored that first for a bit. Yeah.
To ask you a bit about writing together, I think it was a unique experience going to see this film, which I love very much. I've never been aware of who wrote the screenplay as much as I was watching this film, because at the heart of the film, apart from the two brothers, we have a fractured relationship between a father and a son in a movie that very well has been written by a father and a son. And that's a very, very interesting dynamic. But clearly you don't have a fractured fractured relationship. What was it like with the intensity in the writing process, just working together?
Yeah, it was unlike any other experience of writing I'd had in the past. Because I'd written other scripts before my own, where I had really gone in with an extremely intense, detailed outline, and the structure was kind of decided on to an extent before I went into it. But with this, it was kind of the opposite, where we went in with almost like the cipher of this character and this kind of very elemental scenario, and then we were really just following the feeling, this sort of strange feeling of those first 10 pages, and also these characters kind of into the dark, and we didn't know where it was taking us. There was a lot of improvisation that we did over the course of it that kind of started to reveal details about the characters, and I guess the identities of Jem and Ray started to also kind of reveal themselves in opposition to each other in a really interesting way, and their shared past started to slowly become more clear, and also this kind of mystical element I think was pretty clear actually in ways that I didn't understand yet in those first 10 pages.
Once we had a sense of these two lads, we started to reach back towards their early childhood, and then the sort of previous generation, their father having been a veteran of the Second World War, and what their experience had been like with him coming back, obviously bringing with him, his own difficulties from his experiences during that war. And having grown up in a highly religious household where the threat of violence was never far away, not that those two things were connected, but then, a period of time we sort of felt that it was important that he'd had a period of time in a care home and so on. And
Yeah.
Can I ask you about faith and religion as that's come up, because it's very present throughout the film. Right, in fact, right at the very beginning, we see Sean Bean's character on his knees praying, and he has a tattoo on his back. Does it say "Only God forgives" or something? Or something like that. What is the role of religion and faith in this story?
Well, certainly when it seemed clear to us that they'd grown up in a household that was really at the center of which was a very severely practiced Christian faith, it felt right that Jem, for him, that became the foundation of his life, and his faith has sustained him through all his experiences. And when we'd imagined the two brothers having been incredibly close, almost as twins might be, but Jem always had the strength between the two of them. Ray had a fracture in him and was always sort of chasing his brother, needing to be close to his brother, trying to follow his brother's example. But for reasons that become clear during the story, at a given moment, Ray absolutely abandoned that faith. And when we discover him, I think he's living a life with a sort of rather savage form of paganism.
Yeah, as you said, like these two kind of versions of faith or of spirituality, I think, are set up in opposition to each other early on. Like the prayer is this kind of search for God in organized religion, and I think even though we see these moments of organized religion and of Christianity, like the actual spirituality of the film is more in the natural world, like the pagan, the more kind of pagan aspect of it that you were talking about, where we sort of see war and the idea of like human bloodshed, but from the perspective more of nature and of the wind and the sky. And so, yeah, it's I think it definitely has a lot of Christian imagery in it, but it's not a Christian film. But
and at the same time, too, the Ray, in his opposition to the faith, is almost as strongly connected in a way that sometimes the effort that it takes to move away from something that has been instilled in you from such an early age, it's almost as if it's a sort of darker connection, but it's still there. And Ray, in an odd kind of a way, his life is being lived as an act of penitence. So, and that sort of is also a kind of connection to the early.
Yeah. Daniel, were you always going to play Ray? Could you have played Jem?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And yes, I think so. I mean, I was equally, because we were developing the characters through improvisation, obviously, our investment was in each of them equally, which included Nessa and Brian as well. I mean, we became very sort of attached to them too. But I was fascinated by Jem as he seemed to reveal himself, and I don't know how it settled with me at a certain moment. We never discussed it. I think Ro just always assumed that I would be playing Ray, but it wasn't clear to me.
Ronan, can I ask you, how do you direct Daniel Day-Lewis?
I think honestly the key aspect is like preparation, as with any creative relationship like that. I think the longer a time you have to settle into that dynamic and kind of have these important conversations about the character in as much detail as possible before you get on set, I think the more once you get on set you have a shorthand, and so we had the great benefit of writing the script together over the course of like 4 years, that a lot of those really, really detailed decisions and conversations were made over that period of time. I don't think I fully realized as we were writing it how much we were actually in prep at that point, in a way.
So
but
it was like pre-directed, really.
in a way, yeah. But then it was like on set, it's more granular decisions, like the rhythms of the scenes and like how he moves through the space. We didn't rehearse a ton, but each evening before the next day, we would go into the set together and with Ben Fordsman, the cinematographer, and Sean, and
just rough it out. We didn't rehearse, but we just allowed ourselves to get a set so I knew where to put the light. The next day. And then Sean, luckily, we'd had a chance to spend a bit of time together and just felt at ease with the idea of just launching into it day by day, not sort of trying to figure it out.
Just on the 4-year writing process, just so I can get this out, if I've got the chronology right, you started just before COVID, but I just wonder whether lockdown, however you spent lockdown, did that get in the way of this, or did it actually accentuate and concentrate the process?
I think it was good.
In the early moments of talking about it, we thought, well, if we try to do this, we'll only write when we're in the same room together.
Yeah.
And we held to that.
And I think that was also because I think part of the reason we made that decision was because the beginning of the script was done when we were like stuck in one place together in a good way. I think
that remotely in different rooms in the house,
just like yelling to each other. Yeah.
I'd like to ask you just about one particular scene, and that's the hailstorm. Ronan, you've already mentioned the weather and the elements. It reminded me of, Paul Thomas Anderson is someone, Daniel, who you've obviously worked with a lot. The kind of toad frog storm in Magnolia is like the most incredibly intense moment. But that hailstorm that you've got is like the most dangerous moment. It's like, run for cover. This thing could kill you. How did that happen? How did you get that to work?
Yeah, when we were working on the script, I just felt like, there's a lot of silence, but then there's also these moments of long bursts of talking, and it felt like there's this frailty to the words, to these characters' attempts to sort of express themselves, that eventually the words would run out and something in the external environment had to kind of take the place of words at a certain point and really express all this anguish. And so, I just knew there had to be a storm of some kind, especially because of the seeds of the weather that have been planted early on. And the hail, I think probably because of the mixture of danger, but then also the sublime and the beauty of a hailstorm felt important. I started looking at this book, the Book of Miracles, which was this 16th century illuminated manuscript. It was a mixture of Old Testament kind of folkloric images of massive hailstorms and blood rain, and these images that felt biblical but also kind of pagan.
It was stunning. And final question to you, Daniel. It is, first of all, it's very, very good to have you back. But are you done for a while?
Well, for a while, probably, yes. And that's I've always sort of been on that cycle that's remained a bit of a mystery to myself, of the love and investment in the work, and then the need to just work at something else for a while. I don't like to keep idle, but I like to feel that I can re-engage with the world for a spell. And so I have no idea what the future holds right now, but certainly the experience of doing this with Ronan, it reminded us, I think, with a number of people that we work with, very experienced people who helped us make this, that it really did feel like going back to a way of doing things that I remember very fondly when I was younger, where a small group of people with goodwill were all attempting to do the same thing at the same time. And it was just a lovely experience.
Daniel and Ronan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to us. Really
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Daniel Day-Lewis, his son Ronan, who's the director of Anemone, and it was, I have to say that that wasn't filmed. I could see them when we were doing the interview, and you have interviewed them as well. You did an on stage with them. But the thing that doesn't come over there is, first of all, I did a lot of work on it just because I'm thinking this might be the last time Daniel Day-Lewis appears on this podcast.
Yes.
However, we might do it for another 10 years. He only does promo if he's got a family member. That's how it seems. So get it right. Don't mess that up. And he famously doesn't enjoy doing interviews. He said something like, it's God's little joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, on him. But when the line came up and they're sitting in the same hotel room, they were both smiling, and Daniel Day-Lewis particularly was beaming.
I think you can hear it in his voice, actually.
And the other thing that just helps, I think, just before you do your review, is that when I guess the sweetest part of it was whenever Ronan was talking, Daniel was beaming, and it was like this really is a father-son thing that's going on here. It's a proper movie, which will be reviewed in just a second. But it was a dad working with his son and being thrilled to work with his son, as any dad, as any parent would be thrilled to work with one of their kids. That's what that interview was.
And as you said, ironic that it is a film about a fractured father-son relationship full of angst and bitterness and you go, which is clearly not playing out in the real world.
So who knows when Daniel Day-Lewis will do another movie, and even when he does it, whether he'll do any promo. But anyway, it was good to have him on the show.
It's lovely interview. So just quick recap. So this is psychological drama by feature first-timer, better known as a painter, Ronan Day-Lewis. The tagline for the movie is "All is not forgiven," which I think tells you a lot about what is to come. The title refers to a plant, which is a form of wildflower, which kind of ties the past to the present and memories in terms of the thematics of the film. Co-written by Ronan and his father, Daniel Day-Lewis, who also co-stars, marking his return to the screen after sort of retiring, although he said he wasn't really retiring, but he kind of said he and Michael Caine should get together and form a group for people saying that.
And not retire together.
Yeah, since Phantom Thread. He told me and he told you that one of the main incentives for the project was that he got to spend time with Ronan. One thing he said to me, which was funny, was they said they wrote in the same room. I said, how did it work? He said, well, he can type and I can't.
Okay.
So,
very straightforward.
Anyway, so...
I bet he could learn to type if he wanted.
And make shoes while he's doing it. So it's 1995. Sean Bean is Jem Stoker, who is a religious man, as you quite rightly said. We meet him praying, and he has a tattoo, which I think you're right, says "Only God Forgives." He is with Samantha Morton's Nessa. Together they are bringing up Brian, who is struggling, and now the time has come to go and get the brother, Ray, Daniel Day-Lewis, to step up and accept his responsibilities. Jem and Ray are completely estranged. They both served together in the armed forces during the Troubles. They've been estranged for decades. Ray is now living this hermit-like existence in an almost fairy tale, but not in a good sense, cabin in the woods, undesirous of human company, self-imposed banishment. So, and picks up his bag, treks into the woods. I think there's an uncertainty at the beginning about will he really even find the thing, because he's having to work with GPS. And the two are estranged by the traumas of life, the traumas of family, the traumas of war, what Ronan in that brilliant interview called the intersection of personal and national guilt, which I think is a very good phrase summing all this up. And then in that cabin, the respective demons that haunt their pasts come out to play. And at one point, there is this kind of extraordinary scene of the hailstones, which is, I thought exactly the same thing that you did. It reminded me of the Plague of Frogs from Magnolia. Yeah. There is something biblical about it, and there is something wider going on in the film, which is to do with the biblical element and the pagan element, the element which is out in nature, and the fact that it takes its name from a plant, and the fact that we get these overhead shots of the trees almost moving like lungs. There is somehow one of the characters has gone into that world, whilst another character is still very tied up with a religious upbringing that was clearly part of their youth. And then we learn about their father, who was also religious, but also deeply conflicted, and also apparently deeply hard work. So a significant part of the drama plays out in the confines of this cabin. And I do think that Ronan Day-Lewis, who clearly has talent as a director, the film is very well directed. For a first feature, it's very confident, it's very well directed. Puts you right there in that cabin and you feel the claustrophobia. You can hear people breathing, you can hear them, it is, and particularly since you know that at least one of these characters is like a caged animal, there is like that kind of, sometimes you can smell violence in the air, and it's just a question of how long is it going to take before it all comes out. And there is a sort of strange fairy tale element to it. There is something existential about that cabin. It is in the middle of nowhere. So you are somewhere where anything could happen. And there's a kind of slightly visionary element going on around the edges, that everything is a little bit hyper-real or sort of unreal. In the same way that, I mean, Phantom Thread had that fairy tale element that she goes out and picks the mushrooms and then the thing happens, and that's all a bit Brothers Grimm. I think when you have a cast of this caliber, and bear in mind, Samantha Morton is, I think, one of the greatest actors of all time. Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the most, storied and accoladed actors of all time. Sean Bean, who, incredible filmography. One of the things that Ronan Day-Lewis knows as a director is to stay out of their way when they're doing the job. And I think that, considering the confines of a lot of the drama, it's very good that you don't feel that the performances are being intruded upon. You feel that they're being, even when they're you see them in close-up, but you never feel like they're getting them in the face. You do feel like those are very organic performances. I mean, they're very good actors, but it is possible to make very good actors give very bad performances in the wrong circumstances. You mentioned the visuals. I do think plaudits are due to Bobby Krillitz, who did is the composer, and Steve Flanagan, who's the sound designer, because a lot of what's going on is to do with sound. And I know you've picked up on this, before. The wind, the sound of the wind, even that, it's going on in the background, and it's telling you you're out in the woods, and you're out in something strange is happening. That underlying tension between the pagan and the Christian, I think, is important. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis has said this thing in interviews that, obviously he has played dramas that have seen the troubles from the other side. And he said, well, this is interesting because this is seeing it from the side that I haven't played before. And this speaks to the other side of that. And there is a key speech in it in which you sort of hear the root, well, not the root, one of the kind of key reasons why all this has happened. And you go, okay, fine, that yes, this is about another side of the conflict. I do think, however, that despite the fact they said it's specific, it is set when it is set, 95, because it's at this particular time in history. The thing also has a very sort of archetypal, sort of timeless, as I say, you go out in the woods, it could you actually said at one point, is it a period movie? Because it
could be 200 years ago. You'd make the same film if it was set in 1795.
And there we go. Because it's kind of Cain and Abel. It's kind of brother against brother. It's father against son. It's family against family.
Damaged by war, damaged by family. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the smartest thing about it is that it understands all of that. That it appears to be made with all of that in its DNA. Now, when I watched it, I didn't know anything about it other than I knew who'd made it, and I knew the title, which I thought, because I'm an idiot, Anemone, an enemy. I get those two words confused. So I even learned during the course of the drama that the title referred to a plant. I'm afraid that's how dumb I was. But I did find myself, for the whole course of the drama, completely in that world. And I think that it's a very powerful piece. And I think that the things that it's dealing with, although they have that specificity, are much more fundamental than that. I think it is about father, son, brother, what that kind of thing. And I'm a sucker for modern fairy tales. I'm a sucker for the moment that the Hales came, it was like, okay, we are watching the same film, aren't we?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought I agree. I agree with all of that. The only thing that jars is, and this is slightly bizarre, is the opening title sequence has a kind of a painted, animated section.
So drawings of the Troubles.
Yeah, drawings of the Troubles, which led me, I thought, is this going to be
It's going to be a film about the Troubles in Ireland.
Yes, and it's going to be very, very black and white, and it's going to be saying these were the good people and these were the bad people, and I thought, I'm disappointed if that's what it's going to... And
it isn't.
It's not that film at all. So the title sequence, which it looks great, but is completely misleading.
Sort of kids' drawings, isn't it? Yeah.
Kids drawing about bad people and good people, and this is the way that we're going to see it in this film. But actually, the film is so much not that. It's so much more subtle and clever than that title sequence. But I enjoyed it enormously.
Yeah, and it is very confidently directed, isn't it?
Yes, but you never ever take your eyes off Daniel Day-Lewis. He is one of those people.
He is, but can I fly the flag for Sean? I think Sean Bean is. I think if Sean Bean wasn't as good an actor as he is, he would. I mean, you stick them in the room together. You have to be up to, you have to be up to punching weight to do that. And Sean Bean is a really smart guy. And
Did you think he enjoyed working with Daniel?
I imagine he did.
I imagine they had a good. I bet it was pretty intense on set.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, I spoke to him afterwards after we'd done this interview, and of course, in person, Sean Bean is the most down to earth person imaginable. Like literally, he's just like, all right, that's it. How did you find the character? Well, I turned up, it was there. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be a hit film?
It's a small release because it's an art movie, and I think that it will do well with a smaller audience. I mean, it's never going to be a mainstream. I mean, come and see two brothers who haven't spoken for 20 years have a row in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, the story about the priest was an interesting one. I thought.
which is, and actually that's one thing which I didn't mention. There is some real black comedy or brown comedy.
Yes. It's all flooding back to me now, as the priest said in the film. Anemone, when you've seen it, let us know. Correspondence@mayo.com. Ads in a minute, Mark. First, let's cast all those sad thoughts away and step into our laughter lift with a sense of freedom and hilarity.
If we must.
I have to say, I mean, hi, Mark. I have to say I've been very jealous of your Gang of Three exploits.
Yes.
So I've formed a band of my own.
Uh-huh.
We're called 1023 Megabytes, but we haven't quite got a gig yet.
Hey!
There you go. I got into a little trouble with you-know-who over the weekend. She found out I replaced our bed with a trampoline. She hit the roof.
And this is actually it's quite high quality today.
To make things up to her, I took her to London Zoo.
Did you?
Yeah, I like to think of myself as something of a big cat expert.
Uh-huh.
We crept up to the tiger enclosure and we saw one sleeping. That one is a Himalayan tiger, I whispered. How do you know that? Asked the good lady ceramicist there indoors. I said, because Himalayan right there.
Yeah, you see, if you'd said Himalayan, well, there's Himalayan right there.
Yeah, Himalayan.
Do you want to have another run? Then?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, go on.
The good lady ceramicist there indoors. I said, because Himalayan right there. See, there are two alternative ways of I just thought I'd give balance to the force by doing Himalayan and Himalayan.
You did a bit of a Derry Londonderry, didn't you?
Yeah, but that's a whole other issue. That one's a Himalayan tiger.
Let's call the whole thing off.
But he's not even the funniest Jared. Anyway.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Very, very deep cut. Some people would have got that.
Yeah.
But not many.
No.
What's going on in our next bit?
The Choral and Die My Love.
After this. Here's an email from another Mark, and this is about the far left in Switzerland.
Okay, context.
Well, I think this came up. It's an update.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's just a quick update about this Zurich's left-wing cred. I think I might have implied that everyone in Switzerland is basically.
Bear in mind, my grandmother was Swiss.
Yes, okay. And she spoke a very weird kind of thing, which everyone spoke.
Exactly.
From SRF, the Swiss national broadcaster, Zurich's political landscape is dominated by left-leaning parties, and the city has a history of both mainstream left-wing politics and a more militant, extremist left-wing scene. The city's left-wing government is a result of its urban left-leaning population, which contrasts with the right-leaning politics of smaller Swiss towns. In the 1920s, the Socialist International's headquarters were established in Zurich, and the Swiss Socialist Youth Movement played a leading role in its formation.
You didn't get this on film 2016, did you?
Lenin was also there just before he died. What that proves, I have no idea.
He went there and died.
Mark says, I could go on, but I have to attend a committee meeting.
Comrade.
Fundu revolutionaries we are. Anyway, Mark, thank you very much. Well, I mean, it's just that that's not Switzerland's reputation, though, is it really?
No.
As a cabal of active socialism. And Andy Sheath in Cuckford in West Sussex. Dear Knit One, Pearl One, further to knitting-friendly screenings, which we were talking about.
Yes.
I, too, unknowingly booked for such an event last June at the Depot Cinema in downtown Lewes East Sussex. It was part of their Knitflix, get it, series.
I do.
And the film shown was The Ballad of Wallace Island.
Oh, which is lovely.
Further value, interest and insight was added by having a pre-show chat with a local professional knitter who had been commissioned to make one of the warm woolly jumpers worn by Tim Key in the actual film.
Excellent.
A fine initiative, if a bit clicky, by an excellent cinema and cafe restaurant Miniplex. You would imagine, I mean, that if you're going to be in a knitting screening, then it's going to be clicky.
Yeah, it is.
We did it. The closest we've got to that is when we had Knitting Sawney on one of our shows. We did a live show with Knitting Sawney, didn't we? He came on and we talked to him, but I don't think he clicked back in the day.
Do you know that Knitting Sawney and Sanjeev Bhaskar started out in a comedy duo called?
It's a very clever title.
Very good.
It's
called.
funny.
They were Secret Agents.
Secret Agents, which is very good. And you're all coming to dinner very soon, which is a very
Yes.
lovely
Oh,
thing.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, which is
fantastic.
We should do some secret filming for Patreon people. This is because Mark and the good lady Professor and Sanjeev and Mira are coming for dinner.
We're all
So
coming for dinner,
we
yeah.
should film it and we should
Well,
stream it.
I've been doing little bits of film for the Patreon page. Have you?
I forget.
Backstage at the Dodge Brothers, I've done that, and then you've seen a whole extra member who isn't even in the band.
Yeah. Well, I think that's because you've been joined by like a ghostly figure from the past. It might be Lonnie Donegan.
Is it?
I think that's probably who
the ghost
it is.
of Lonnie Donegan.
It is.
Okay.
He's turned up in your band.
So
Which is fantastic.
You're not playing that song, right? It's in A.
Here's a movie review then.
The Choral, which is a highly anticipated British drama, anticipated not least because it once again reunites Alan Bennett and writer Alan Bennett and director Nicholas Heitner, who together have previously collaborated on Madness of King George, did pretty well. History Boys, wasn't crazy about the film. Lady in the Van, very, very good. Now this, although this is an original screenplay, not an adaptation. Starry cast includes Rafe Don't Call Me Ralph Fiennes, Roger Allam, Mark Addy, and Simon Russell Beale. So,
very good.
You know, no wonder it's being released right in the middle of awards corridor. So set in 1916, fictional Yorkshire town of Ramsden, eve of conscription, young men are being sent away to die in the trenches or shipped home with horrific injuries and horrific memories of battle. The Choral Society, which is headed up by Roger Allam and Mark Addy, are suffering because the male ranks have been completely depleted, meaning they have to start to recruit the kind of undesirables that in the past they would have turned their noses up. They have to go to the pub to find if there's anyone in the pub who can sing, and it doesn't matter who they are. If they can sing, they can. Same goes for the women too, who by necessity is not now just pillars of the community, but people of, in inverted commas, loose reputation. Needs must, and if they can sing, they're in. As for the choir master, the only real candidate is Ralph Fiennes' Dr. Guthrie, who is a great musician, but has spent, of his own accord, a large amount of years in Germany, and therefore is sneered upon by everybody else because country is obviously now at war with Germany, and keeps getting asked, why were you in Germany? He says, because the Germans appreciate art and culture and music and have produced pretty much every great composer. So yes, I did like being in Germany. So he takes up the baton in front of this ragtag choir and a makeshift orchestra in which, possibly for the first time, because revolution is in the air, everyone is on an equal footing. Here's a clip.
This is Mr. Horner. He will be accompanying you for today's auditions. Thank you.
I thought we're doing the auditions.
Not for me, you haven't. And that goes for everybody.
We're the committee.
No exceptions.
I haven't anything prepared.
Scales will do.
Scales? Us?
It was your choice.
Not too late, Emma.
Dear Lord and Father of mankind.
A bit of nice singing there, suddenly rudely interrupted by the clip coming to an end. So, in order to avoid bricks being thrown through the window, they agree not to do a German composer's work, but they will do Elgar. Okay, Elgar. Can't get more solid. Elgar. Will Elgar, who is played with imperious pomposity by Simon Russell Beale, will he agree to allow these amateurs to perform his dream of Gerontius? Will the choir and the, in inverted commas, orchestra get their act together for one rousing performance, or will ruptures within the mill town just tear everything apart? So the slogan on the poster is, they were divided by war, he united them in song. So you kind of will go in with a certain assumption about the way this is going to go. in the same way as, will the predator actually kill the beast and bring the thing back home?
I think we know that
Spoilery,
that's happen,
spoilery. So, I mean, there have been quite a few successful British movies about plucky northern grit with rebellious politics and musical themes kind of, intertwined with it. I mean, you and I loved Brastoff, right? Mm-hmm. Brastoff is fantastic.
It is.
Full Monty was Oscar. I mean, I think that Brastoff should have been an Oscar contender. I really do. But then the Full Monty was sort of celebrated, far and wide. This is sort of in that kind of area, although I have to say, I don't think it's on the same level. I mean, the message of the film, which is very much rooted in the screenplay, is, and this is a good message, art is not an indulgence, right? Art is a necessity. And at times of crisis, we need art and we need singing and transcendence more than ever. And the script also sort of takes swipes at the class structure, the idea of, the working classes being used for cannon fodder in the First World War. And this is a town in which you have the mill owner and the person that works at the mill suddenly together in the same choir, and everything is kind of equal. And so all those things, I think they're, I'm sort of broadly on board with them. And there's also a thing about the way in which jingoism is used to encourage people to sign up, because let's go and do the great thing, which of course turns out to be not the great thing. So there's also a kind of weirdly, there's an element of sexual politics which is kind of strange, which is that there is this very unjudgmental earthiness about the way in which sex is portrayed as a transactional commodity, which is something that can be given in kindness, or something that can be raunchy, or something that can be sneered at, or something that can be begged for in times of crisis. And there's some scenes that are kind of, they're odd because they sort of seem to sit slightly to one side of the coziness of the drama, in which, the point is there's a quiet desperation at work here. This is the young men who are about to go off and face terrible circumstances and very likely death. And in those circumstances, the politics of transactional sex become a slightly different thing. And there are those scenes which seem to sit at a slight odds to the rest of the film, which is the film about the choir getting to pull itself together to do the performance, which is going to happen. Beyond that, it's fairly by numbers fair. It sort of falls into what you'd broadly describe as goes down well with a cup of tea and a biscuit on a Wednesday afternoon, Mrs. Ralph Fiennes is good, of course, as the kind of quietly grieving musician he is kind of distrusted as much for his suspected sexuality as for his German proclivities and the fact that he's an artist at all.
And that bone temple he's got. I mean,
the bone temple, of course.
No wonder he'd be discussed.
No, of course, that has put them off. You've got Roger Allam, who I always think is great. Nice line between the pompous and the wounded, because he's the mill owner, but also he's got this kind of vulnerability. And then you've got Simon Russell Beale camping it up as Elgar. Elgar is portrayed as a vain, preening nincompoop, floating his way around in these newly acquired academic robes and behaving like a complete snot-nosed idiot. Honestly, all I could think of, I wonder what Ken Russell would have made of this. Because firstly, that isn't, as far as I understand, that isn't Elgar. And secondly, one colleague of mine, I'm not making this up, one colleague of mine actually walked out.
What, because of the way Elgar
was portrayed. And yeah, the Elgar caricature is, it will divide people. I think there are some very nice performances. Amara Okreki's Mary is very good as this kind of Sally Alley figure who everybody thinks that they understand because she's in the Salvation Army, but they don't sort of fully. John Singer Sargent has been sort of cited as inspiration for the visuals. And the fact is, it does look beautiful. It does. That area looks absolutely beautiful. Screen Yorkshire should be absolutely cock-a-hoop because it is beautiful. But I kind of left it with the feeling of, yeah, it was fine. I thought the narrative bit off more than it could chew. I thought there were some things in it that were kind of interestingly, oddly radical, but sort of were at odds with the general coziness of the rest of it. So it was more... It was more fragments of a tune than a soaring melody, really.
Oh, very good. Do that one again.
It was more fragments. I do it as if I'm making it up.
Yeah.
It was more fragments of a tune than a soaring melody.
Beautiful.
Really, thank you.
Excellent.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Very, very good. Okay, and that is called
The Choral.
The Choral. Okay, and we've got some other discussions about choral films.
We have in take two.
In take two. Anyway, we've just got time for a quick what's on.
Okay.
Hi, Simon and Mark. This is Ollie from the 20th Century Society. We're campaigning to save the amazing Point Cinema in Milton Keynes and would love your listeners to get involved and show their support. Opened 40 years ago in 1985, the Point is a modern architectural icon, a 70-foot high pyramid of bright red steel and mirrored glass. It was the first multiplex cinema anywhere in the world outside the United States. The bad news is the Point closed as a cinema in 2015 and is now threatened with demolition. We think this is a unique part of our national heritage that should be preserved, and so we're calling on the government to designate it as a listed building. Let us know what you think and hop onto our website to sign the petition.
Ollie, thank you very much indeed. If you are in government now,
yes,
could you get that sorted? Thanks very much.
Okay.
That'd be Lisa Nandy, I would imagine.
It is true that building is amazing. I've never been in it, but I have been round it because it is, and it does look exactly like a pyramid. So that wasn't the cinema that was referred to because he said it's been closed since 2015, that was referred to in the email about the most expensive cinema trip in the world, in which Milton Keynes was more expensive than the BFI IMAX.
No,
that's another cinema.
That's another one
in
altogether.
Milton Keynes.
But Ollie, thank you. And if you
brilliant.
If you got something to shout about that's vaguely to do with cinema or film, correspondence at kermode.com. Just record a little voice note, and that'll be lovely. And Ollie recorded it very well. The acoustics were good. He was the right
well
distance from the microphone. Yeah. It was fairly animated.
Yeah. And he wasn't dressed up as a character from a fantasy film.
No, which always helps just a little bit. Thank you very much indeed for that. Okay, so Die My Love, Find My Love, Fairground Attraction.
Goodbye, My Love. There we go. This is the new film from Lynne Ramsay, the brilliant Scottish director behind Ratcatcher, More Than Colour. We need to talk about Kevin. You Were Never Really Here. One of my favourite directors, as you will know, combines the visual poetry of Robert Bresson with the kind of down-to-earth grit of Ken Loach and the ecstasy of pure cinema. So, also renowned for getting career best performances out of her cast. So you think of Samantha Morton in More Than Colour, you think of Tilda Swinton in Kevin, you think of Joaquin Phoenix in You Were Never Really Here. So this is based on a 2012 novel by, now, Ariana Havitz, I think I'm saying that correctly, but I may not be, which was Matate Amor in original Spanish. This moves the action from France to America. I'm saying all this as if I only know it because I've read it, because I haven't read the book. Script is by Lynne Ramsay, Enda Walsh, and Alice Birch. The film is co-produced by Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
And apparently it was Scorsese who brought the book to Jennifer Lawrence's company, who were called Excellent Cadaver.
Really? Yeah. That's not Mother?
Not Mother, exclamation mark, small m. And then she brought it to Lynne Ramsay. So Lynne Ramsay, Robert Pattinson are Grace and Jackson, who are a young couple. She's a writer. She's meant to be working on a book. He's working. They decamp from New York to rural Montana, where they move into this now vacant home of Jackson's deceased uncle. The home is it's in the middle of nowhere, pretty run down. They don't seem to mind. They are chaotically free spirits. They do lots of dancing and drinking and an awful lot of having sex and an awful lot of intoxication. And they're very, very sort of, they're full of fire. That is all changed, at least to some extent, by the arrival of a child and the inevitable need for them to tame some of their wilder ways. And it's worth pointing out, I think, that... no, we'll come back to that. Okay, fine. That's not my thing. So, let's hear a clip. Here is a clip from Die My Love.
So do you think you'll have another one?
Yeah, pregnant now. Cooking up twins.
What happened to your hands?
Oh, you should see the wall.
Yeah, I I have 2 kids, and 2 is a lot, if I'm being honest.
Seems like it.
Doing great. Babies, though. Babies are hard. I don't think anybody talks about that enough.
It's all anyone talks about.
It changes you. I think I nearly lost my mind for the first 6 months.
When do you think you'll be getting it back?
Good joke. So, as you probably read in a lot of interviews, so Jennifer Lawrence was pregnant during the production and has talked about the thing, because what then happens is that her mental health starts to deteriorate. And as it does, Jackson finds other outlets for his physical needs. She keeps finding packets of condoms in the glove compartment, as we would call it, of a car. And their lives sort of start to fall apart. Now, apparently, when Jennifer Lawrence brought the novel to Lynne Ramsay, Ramsay was uncertain about it because she didn't want to do another project about postpartum depression because she thought that people will go, oh, well, you did that with We Need to Talk About Kevin, because so much of We Need to Talk About Kevin is about the Tilda Swinton character as opposed to the Kevin character. It's all about what is the mother imposing on the child, because the mother is sort of seeing the child as the embodiment of evil, but it's being sort of projected. Apparently, Lynne Ramsay was persuaded that it was a, quote, bonkers crazy love story. And to some extent, it is a bonkers crazy love story. She's also described it as a comedy. And I think it is a comedy in the same way that Punch Drunk Love is a violent comedy about love or a violent love story. You know, it is a bonkers crazy love story, but with it teetering on the brink of madness. And the film opens with this kind of apocalyptic image of a world in flames, and it's an image to which it will return. Actually, kind of reminded me, I was watching that in terms of the rain of hail, the rain of stones coming in from in an anemone. And during the course of the drama, the protagonists do get dragged to hell and back. And it also reminded me of the fact that the Divine Comedy, you know, it's the Dante thing about comedy meaning a number of different things. So this is shot on 35 by Seamus McGarvey, who shot Kevin. I read somewhere that the format and the ratio, which is because it's the kind of square ratio, was influenced by Polanski. I'm not sure that that's the main thing. The most important thing is that the way in which the film is framed is, although we're out in this kind of amazing landscape, you feel trapped. You kind of feel trapped. Again, another kind of comparison here to Anemone. You feel trapped in this house. And a lot of the time when the characters leave the house, they go out of there. So you kind of feel like they're sort of gasping for air. And that sort of lends the idea that the relationship is trapping them and that the world is closing in around this character who's literally kind of gasping for air. There is madness in their relationship. There is madness in the world. You have Sissy Spacek, who is brilliant as the matriarch who sleepwalks with a loaded gun, suggesting that even the sort of saner elements of the drama, everything's kind of like a hair trigger away from tragedy. And then you have these other characters. You have Nick Nolte and Lakeith Stanfield who came on the show, both in smaller roles, but smaller roles that play very, very important parts in the jigsaw of the whole picture of this sort of state of mind. So the whole film becomes like an external dramatization of an internal state of mind, of somebody going crazy because of the situation that they're in. I mean, it's really interesting. I think all the performances are good. It is Jennifer Lawrence's movie. I mean, she dominates the screen. It is a really out there performance. It is really genuinely fearless, although the character is fearful. I mean, outrageous and crazy and out of control, but also clearly fearful. And there's one scene in which she's apparently got her act together. We heard a snippet of it there in that thing about, I was losing my mind, really, when you're going to get it back. And then things start to unravel again. I have to say that one scene is an absolute bravura masterclass in... There's a moment in it when she's looking and she's smiling, and it's a sort of Stepford Wives smile, and you know that the smile is about to crack, and you know that nothing is right. You know that thing when she's wearing sort of nice dress and everything seems fine and everything, and you know that nothing is right. I found the film exhausting. I absolutely came out the other end of it feeling like I'd been put through the ringer. And I know that you might not see that as a positive thing.
No, it doesn't sound like a great thing.
But it's because the film grabs you,
okay,
and you feel like the narrative is non-linear, it's kind of fragmented, it's like jumbled shards of a traumatic memory. Again, this does, I think, compare it to Anemone. That one. I can't imagine anyone else doing this material as well. I love Lynne Ramsay anyway. Jennifer Lawrence's performance is, it's really kind of, apparently she did say, I want to really go for it. And boy, does she go for it.
She knows how to go for it.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah.
You've seen that.
And I just think, thank heaven that we have filmmakers like this who are willing to make the kind of movie that is full on experiential, You know, you are not going to come out of this in anything other than a state of utter raggedness.
But before you see it again, you might want to leave it a bit. Do you think?
I mean, I could have gone straight back in again, except that I needed to just lie down.
Okay, so when you've seen it, let us know what you think. Correspondence@Kermode.com. That is the end of Take One. This has been a Sony Music Entertainment production. This week's team, Jen, Eric, Josh and Heather. The producer was Jem, although he's not here. He's in a Spanish prison for some reason. And I don't think he's doing time. I think he's just acting. The redactor was Simon Poole. And if you're not following the pod already, please do so wherever you get your podcasts, which includes our YouTube channel. The Christmas show is a fabulous thing and awaiting the purchase of your tickets. You go to www.fane.co.uk/Kermode-Mayo. Come and join us on Patreon, because there's so many lovely people on Patreon.
Yeah.
Just drop in and say hi and take part in
behind the scenes Dodge Brothers videos.
Yeah, and also there's our strange chat rooms where you can
members only
over 21. Mark, what is your film of the week? Die My Love. Okay.
You don't leave me anymore.
No, that's not
just
true.
go.
Okay, because it might be the Choral.
No, Die My Love.
Mark, what is your film of the week?
Die My Love.
Die My Love.
But I also really like Anemone.
Anemone.
No, Anemone.
Should Die My Love be, how should it be said? Should it be
Die My Love?
So the love is dying?
Yeah, it's an instruction. Die My Love.
Right. That doesn't sound very nice, though.
It's not meant to be nice.
Okay. Send us an email, correspondence@Kermode-Mayo.com. We'll be along fairly shortly. There's a Take Two, there's a Patreon, there's so much stuff to get involved with.
Never use a preposition to end a sentence with
full stop. Thank you.